Hello and welcome to the Home and Learn video course for visualbasic.net. I'm Kenny Carney and this is the website. So you click on Visual Basic and we've got as far as for loops in the previous lesson. We are now tackling do loops. If you get stuck in the video, you can come to the website and you can do the text version. But let's try and do something in here. Alright, so I've already added my button for do loops. If you add one for yourself, add a button to your phone for do loops. And if you change the text property, do loops, you can leave the name on button one if you like. And if you double click to create the code stub, you will get something like this. Except with do loops, I've already done mine here. So do loops, it's the same concept as you've seen here. You're forcing your program to go back up, forcing it to go back up on that one. Let me set up a variable. I'll call it counter. You'll see why in a moment. We'll have an integer, and I'll set it to a value of 1. The structure of a do loop: you start with the word do. If you press your enter key, you have do and loop, except you need a little bit of extra on top of that. You can have do while, also have do until. You can have either of those ones, and you need a condition that evaluates to true. So if I put at the bottom here, and this could either go at the bottom or the top after here, until and while, say, and if the space after that, until and while. Let's do a while one. The space there, do while, and if I say counter is less than 11, so do while counter is less than 11. So in other words, for this loop it's going to go round and round while the counter is less than 11. I've set my counter to 1, and if I started the program now, what do you think would happen? Let me try it. I'll do this. I'll start debugging so you can see. And diagnostic tools. See the memory there. Slowly creep it up. If I could do nothing's happening. Memory's creeping up. It's going up. Keep going up. Because I have created an infinite loop and my program has crashed. I can't even stop it now. I've stopped my program. So I've created an infinite loop. Because the counter is on 1, but there's no way for it to get to another number. It will always be less than 11. So you've got to watch out for that for your infinite loops. You've seen in the for loops how you've got next, and it automatically adds 1 to whichever variable you've got here. It automatically increments. You've got to do the incrementing yourself with a do loop, and you can just do it like this one. Counter equals counter plus 1. So that increments the counter variable and it moves it closer to that goal of 11. Now if I start it, it shouldn't actually do anything. I'll tell you what, let me do that list box. No, it's not that one. List box 1, wasn't it? List box 1. So items, and we need to add our own brackets. Let's do that counter. Text counter equals, need an ampersand, just so you can see what's happening. Start with that debugging. Do loops, and you can see there counter equals 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've incremented the counter, and I can use that counter. We can do exactly the same as we're doing here, right? Adding up numbers 1 to 10, because we've got that counter there. And you do exactly the same way. I'll set up a new variable. Dim answer is integer. I'll set that to equal 0. Now I can do the same as we did before. Answer equals answer. plus and counter, because this is going to be changing each time around the loop, as you've seen. And you can add up the numbers outside of the loop. Let's have this box again. This box, 1 items, and whatever, total equals, put the sign down underneath my answer, don't I? That's now let's see what we've got. Begin, 2 loops, total equals 55, so it's gone around the counter, it's incrementing that, and we're using it to add up the numbers 1 to 10. For that while, it doesn't need to be at the bottom, you can put it at the top. Let me cut that one out and paste it to the top. See what difference it makes, if any. Wow. Oh, exactly the same. But there is a difference, because if you put it at the top, then this counter, it might already be more than 11 or greater. So it will bail out straight away, and it'll just go right to the end. Or if it's at the bottom, then all of this code inside the loop will execute at least once. There is also until, so you could have changed that until, but you have to change your logic to until counter is less than 11, so you make them greater than 11, or greater than 10, something like that. Until, I'm sure I've got that right. Yeah, that's the same. Or again, you could have that until at the bottom if you wanted to. And there's one more thing I want to mention about these, and you can escape a loop if you want with the words exit, do, just like that. For example, see, you might have an if statement. Let's see, something like counter equals 3, especially we're testing for 3s. And then you could have display message box, actual is 3, something like that. And then you could have your exit do loop, exit do, just like that. Now let's see what happens. I like debugging. Counter is 3, and we don't finish. Total is 3, so it's exited after a count of 3, and it's gone straight down to here. Likewise, there's an exit 4 as well. You could have, if you wanted to exit a loop early, exit a for loop, there's exit 4 as well. As you've seen on there, if I take the S, there's also an exit subroutine. So for example, this button here, say if you were testing a text box, you might be testing for a blank text box, and if you detect one, you can set up an if statement here, and you can exit sub instead of exit for, exit do. And I think that's enough for loops, for do loops. They do take a little bit of practice to get used to, so I encourage you to either go through the video again or go to the website, and you can go here for do loops or for loops. I think in the next one we might do the times table, so that's a little bit of practice there for loops. I might do that one next. In any case, I will see you in the next lesson.